everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. I'm on episode 259. Welcome back. Yes, I did take the week off. I'm sorry, or maybe I'm not sorry, but I just needed some time to just regroup. It was my first week at work after our in-service time, and I just needed some time to collect myself. So I am doing my best. I'm going to do my best to commit myself more to what I have going on outside of work, and I just feel like I've been frazzled past few weeks, trying to get everything in order, get my home organized and homey and cozy. So on top of that, and settling with my new job while still maintaining my podcast, it's just been a lot mentally. So I'm definitely gonna get back into it. I'm gonna do my best too. And I haven't worked out in a while. Well, since the last time I worked out was on vacation, and that was just like a one-time thing. But we're going to get back into the groove of things. So I am happy to be here. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Tuning in is not a radio show, but I really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed any point of this podcast and you have yet to like, share, or subscribe, please make sure you do so now. Let's get into it. Okay, so what do I want to start off with? I think I want to start off with the Oprah situation that's going on. It's a pretty interesting story that I'm still trying to understand or wrap my mind around, because I don't know if it's a conspiracy. I don't know if it's whatever it is, but anyway, so there's been some wildfires happening in Maui, and Oprah happens to be a longtime resident of Maui. And yes, she does live in the United States, but she also has property in Maui and has spent just considerable amount of time there, so much so that she considers herself to be like half-time Mauian. So there's been these wildfires taking place recently, and a lot of people have been harmed because of it, whether they were killed because of the fire or their property was damaged incredibly so that they could not just kind of save it from the damage. Nonetheless, it has been a strong impact upon the natives there on the land. The conspiracy is that, okay, sorry, I have a dog and he's like digging. Stop it. Stop. Sit down. Sit down. Okay. Good boy. Okay, so he's pretty good. I'm actually blessed to have him because he's a really good dog. Okay, so let me read this. So Oprah Winfrey, her camera crew, so she brought a camera crew with her to this shelter place where those who were affected by the wildfires took shelter in. And she was denied access to the emergency shelter place. And she tried to bring a CBS crew inside the facility where survivors continued to struggle in the aftermath of the devastating fires that tore through Lahaina. This statement specifically says, and I quote, "Out of respect for those who have come to seek safety and shelter at emergency shelters, our policy remains that no media are given access. We welcome Oprah to continue to uplift our community spirit and give her aloha to victims of the tragic disaster and appreciate her understanding of our policy of no camera crews or reporters in our emergency." How are you saying that? Emergency. It's the SH that comes afterwards in the word shelter. I think that's throwing me off. Mahalo. So anyway, the story is she is trying to bring in her camera crew to record this live tragic event, to get the inside scoop, to get the compassion and the views from this story, because the story is hot. And she was denied this. About 30 minutes after the post, the country clarified that Oprah was allowed inside, but not her crew. And I feel like this was clarified because maybe Oprah's crew and whoever is representing her, or maybe Oprah herself, got at them and was like, you will absolutely not deny me. And they wanted to clarify, oh, it's not you, it's just your crew. But we come to find out that though she wasn't denied, though she herself was not denied, she still made it an effort to bring forth her crew with her. And she took pictures and videos, and I think it's like in poor taste. I feel like ultimately that's what I want to get at here. Like, I think it's in poor taste, and it seems like it's for the attention of it all. Like, how can I gain more attention and be seen as this virtuous woman when really it comes off like it's all about her. Like, I don't care about you going there with your camera crew. What I care about is somehow your place of residence was not at all damaged. And the conspiracy is the majority, if not all, of the areas that were damaged was of people of lower economic class and a certain demographic. So the rich people in the area were protected and had no fear, no worry. They did not need to go to a shelter for residents. So it just makes me wonder how what's the word? How true is this fire? Stop it. Sit down. How true is this fire? How natural is this fire? Is this another case of what's that called? Not chemtrails. The other thing where they you can control the weather. I forget the name. Hold on, it's gonna bother me. Name of thing that controls weather. Sorry, it's bothering. HAARP. Is this another case of HAARP? So who knows? I just wonder, why is this happening? How did this happen? And sure, yes, natural fires or wildfires in particular do happen. They're natural, and I just sometimes some of these things though, I do wonder, are they being manipulated by technology? Are they being manipulated by chemicals and things of that nature to further put the neck or put the thumb down on the necks of those who are economically disenfranchised? So that is what I wonder, and I wish them well. My heart goes out to those who were affected, and I hope they can rebuild and rebuild soon. So God bless. Let's move on to our next topic here. Okay, so The Blind Side was a lie, allegedly, according to the star character here. So I actually never seen the movie. I heard it was really good. Sandra Bullock won an Oscar for it. I think this was after she was humiliated by her tattooed ex-con, multiple baby and baby mama husband at the time. I forget his name, but I don't know how they even got together, but they were just kind of a mismatch because Sandra Bullock came off as America's sweetheart. She was of that echelon, along with Julia Roberts. Even Jennifer Aniston had some time. Cameron Diaz. Sandra Bullock was one of them, one of the American sweethearts, or America's sweethearts. So to see her in a romantic relationship with a man who just did not look the conventional part, it was a hard pill to swallow for many people. But nonetheless, she professed her love for him. She shouted him out during her acceptance speech one time for a previous award, and really showed that she loved this man. So when he humiliated her he did a plethora of different things. I think he got, I don't know, there was so many things that he did, and it just made her look very bad. Immediately she divorced him and kind of took a break from Hollywood. And then now, at that time, she was like someone rebuilding her image in Hollywood and hoping to receive a better response from the audience. So when she won this award, and I'm hoping I'm in the right timeline, but I think I'm remembering correctly. But nonetheless, when she won this award, it was some award at least, but I know she won an Oscar for this role from this movie, The Blind Side. She was getting not just praise for her incredible work and portrayal in the movie, but for this applause and praise for, wow, you've overcome your humiliation, and wow, look at you. And maybe it was the humiliation ritual that many celebrities go through in the Illuminati sphere, Sphere. So who knows exactly the purpose behind that humiliation? Was it a genuine one, or was it something that was already concocted and already planned and ready to go? My mind kind of goes there. But nonetheless, she won this award, and come to find out, years later, mind you, this is years ago. This movie came out many moons ago. I was probably in high school when this movie came out. I really don't remember, but it was a long time ago. So to finally hear from the star character himself, the actual NFL star, whose name is Michael O'Hare, this brolic, beer-like black man who was seemingly adopted, according to how the movie was portrayed. Much I didn't see it, but I knew enough from the trailer and from the talks of it. I kind of got an understanding of what the movie was about. So you have this brolic, big black, bear-like black man who is now a part of this white family because they had a heart and took him in after witnessing his poor upbringing. I think he didn't have a home, or he had a poor home. He was living in poverty, and they saw something in him, and they decided to just be good Samaritans. And the tricky thing about this movie is, at least at the time, the term of white savior complex was not introduced in our lexicon. Like, I don't remember hearing about that term back then. It's not until of recent years we hear of these terms like white savior complex. And for those who may not be familiar with the definition of that term, or even that term alone, it's basically when you have a white character from a movie or TV show, even in real life, who plays this Jesus model, right? This, I can save you from your trials and tribulations. I can make your life better. It's because of me you will have the answers to your questions. And it portrays this image of, you need this white character as a way to overcome your struggles, as a way to reach success. And it gives the illusion that you can't do it on your own, or that your own community can't help you. You only can get the help and the answer from white people. And it continues to reinforce this superior complex for white people in America, while reinforcing the inferiority complex for Black people and other minority groups. So with this movie of The Blind Side, you have this well-to-do white family who seems to be happy and whole, and there's 2 parents in the household, and they're financially stable and probably thriving even so. And they take in this Black boy who is impoverished, or who comes from poverty, and he doesn't know how to speak well, and he doesn't know how to carry himself well, and he's big and he's brawling, and oh my God, like, he doesn't fit their cookie cutter image, right? Yet they take him in because they have the heart. They have the heart. They are good Samaritans. They're Jesus. So you see what I'm saying? Like, so back then when it came out, this movie was not at all seen as this white savior complex. Instead, it was praised, it was applauded, it was revered. Like, oh my gosh, look at this amazing family. They're so generous. Look at what they did. Had it not been for them, this Black boy would never have tasted success. Retired NFL star Michael O'Hare, whose supposed adoption out of grinding poverty by a wealthy white, so they were not just financially stable, they are wealthy, by a wealthy white family, was immortalized in the 2009 movie The Blind Side, petitioned a Tennessee court Monday with allegations that a central element of the story was a lie concocted by the family to enrich itself at his expense. So he is claiming here that he was never adopted, and that the main details in the movie were concocted for the financial benefit of this white family. The 14-page petition filed in Shelby County, Tennessee, probate court, alleges that Sean and Leanne Toohey, who took O'Hare, the Black man, the NFL star who's now retired, into their home as a high school student, never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after O'Hare turned 18 in 2004, the petition says the couple tricked him into signing a document making them his conservators, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name. You see? Did you hear that? Conservators. So think about Britney Spears. She just recently, maybe she should be back on it, but don't get at me, Britney Spears fans. So instead of actually being adopted like he thought he was, or maybe, like not just he thought he was, he probably was told that, right? He was lied to directly. And instead of that being the case, you have them tricking him into signing a document that he was not fully aware of. Of course, he's a high school student. He's not aware of legalese. He's not aware of what conservatorship means. What does that look like? What does that mean for him? And he was tricked into signing this document. So he signed it against his will, knowingly, against his will of knowing exactly what it was. And they gained legal authority to make business deals in his name. They saw this young man as a money deal. They saw him as a way to not only maintain, but increase their wealth within the family. So I think it's just a beyond level of evil here, because now it makes me wonder, was any of their deed good? This family, was any of their deed for this young man at the time, he's an adult now, but was any of their deed towards him, was it for good? And just by reading this sentence alone, it makes me feel like the answer is no. Like, they immediately saw him as a money deal, portrayed this white savior complex, which is still in essence not something to be proud of, because who are you to think you're superior? But they lied to him. They lied to him, and they made him feel as if he was in good hands, and maybe he was for that time being, seemingly, right? He had a nice roof over his head. Never mind just a roof over his head, but a nice one at that. He had food, clothes, access to things, networks, and yet this was all done under manipulation and malice. The petition further alleges that the two Ohis, I'm not saying their name correctly, it's hard to pronounce, used their power as conservators to strike a deal that paid them and their two birth children millions of dollars in royalties from an Oscar-winning film that earned more than $300 million, while O'Hare got nothing for a story that would not have existed without him. In the years since, the two Ohis have continued calling the 37-year-old O'Hare their adopted son, and have used that assertion to promote their foundation, as well as Leanne's two Ohis' work as an author and motivational speaker. So they're just out here lying, and they're building off of this lie, and they're continuing this perception of, we adopted this man, we gave him a life, we gave him access, we gave him success, or he worked, he got access and he was able to gain success from that. And come to find out, he was never adopted. They were actually his conservators rather than his adopted parents. And it just makes it all look very disturbing, because how dare you? Shout out to Greta, whatever her name is. I don't know why, though, it has taken him this long to come forth and say this. So it does make me wonder what event took place in your life that led to you finally coming forward and telling the truth about this. Did he just find out that his adopted parents were actually not his adopted parents and actually his conservators? Did he just get out of the conservatorship? Is he out of the conservatorship? Or now that he's retired, maybe he isn't making as much money as he did when he was playing football, or maybe his money has significantly ran out, and now he's coming forward with this story, even though he may have known about this years ago. But now he's coming forward to gain more access and maybe sympathy money. Who knows? But all in all, this is also disturbing and disappointing. When people seemingly do good things or good deeds, you would assume that this is coming from the heart. And come to find out, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And that just never changes. It's never not been about the money. It's never not been about what can I benefit from this situation here. So I'm sorry to hear about that. I wish him well. But yeah, it was all a lie. It was all a lie. And child, who knows what will happen next, and who knows if her business of being a motivational speaker and an author and the foundation that they created off of this lie, if that will continue to be successful after this. So do people really care? I don't know. We'll find out. So remember the lady on the plane who said, that motherfucker is not real? She has since released a video saying her apologies. She has profusely apologized for the profanity that she used, or just her curse words in particular that she used in her outpour of saying that motherfucker's not real. And yet I'm still a little confused here. And I'm confused because why did she say that? Why did she say it? I don't want to immediately paint her as a crazy plain lady. Of course not. But of course you have so many articles. This article right here from nypost.com is titled Crazy Plain Lady, and her name is Tiffany Gomez, apologizes after viral mother effer is not real rant aboard American Airlines flight. So immediately she is seen as this crazy lady. Not a lot of people is taking her seriously or is trying to even understand why she would say such a thing. And I'm left here still wanting to understand why. I would have hoped, or I would have liked, had she released a video and explained exactly why she said what she said. But maybe something happened to her prior to her releasing this video, because it took a couple of weeks, more than a couple of weeks, at least 3 weeks, I feel like, since the rant happened, for her to finally come forward herself and say what she is saying. I don't know why she is now coming forward and talking about it, So, and yet she's not addressing the content of what she's saying. She's not really explaining why she said that. She's just saying, I'm sorry for disturbing people. I'm sorry for the profanity that I use. And here's what she said verbatim. So let me go ahead and read this. So the foul mouth. So again, they're focusing on the words that she used. And I get it. Sure. Not everyone wants to hear curse words. I'm not much of a cursor myself, so I don't really like to hear it in conversation too much, or even in passerby, but whatever. The foul-mouthed Texas native who was kicked off of an American Airlines flight after a caught-on-camera meltdown. And see this keywords, meltdown. So continuously using adjectives to make her seem as the crazy lady. Oh, she had a meltdown. She had an episodic break, issued a mea culpa. Okay. How people just be adding Latin words in regular language? First of all, this is a dead language. What the hell does this mean? Mea culpa. I'm looking that up. I like to learn things. Yeah, it's Latin. So me, and that's MEA. So maybe it's Mia. Who knows? Mea culpa, CULPA, is a phrase originating from Latin that means my fault or my mistake, and is an acknowledgement of having done wrong. Okay, mea culpa.
Mea culpa.
Oh, mea culpa. Okay, well, the more you know. So here's what she said in the video. I'm just going to read the quote. I'm not going to play the video, actually. So let me just read this. So, quote, distressed or not, I should have been in control of my emotions. And that was not the case. Tiffany Gomez, who's 38 years old, and she's from Dallas, Texas, told TMZ in a clip in which she promoted her website and asked viewers to join her in promoting positive mental health and standing up against cyberbullying. The marketing executive was booted from the July 2nd flight from Dallas to Orlando, Florida, after she accused another passenger of stealing her AirPods and bizarrely stated, again, so they're using these, another word, bizarrely. Like, why you gotta say that? Just say she stated, you know what I mean? So using these words like meltdown, bizarrely, crazy, continue to dismiss who she is and makes her seem like she is unstable. And bizarrely stated that mother effer is not real, and now viral video of the incident. So again, what she said in that video, she said, quote, "You can sit on this plane and you can effing die with them or not. I'm not going to," the crazed woman said as a plane was taxiing, according to the clip. She demanded that the crew stop the plane and the aircraft was brought back to the gate and Gomez ejected. So here's the thing here. They never said in the beginning of this video, like when this first came out, nothing was said about her AirPods being stolen and her accusing someone of stealing that. You know what I mean? So why is it suddenly now making the news here as if it's an explanation to why she, see what I'm saying? Like, yo, these media reports is something else. They are something else. They're so manipulating in a way that you have to read and pause and read again, because what you just read was a skew of emotional tones, right? They want you to see her as a particular way rather than you assessing the situation without a biased report. This report here, this article here is reporting her as this crazy lady. And sure, I get the portrayal. I get how she may appear as if she's off her rocker. But I also feel like we should not dismiss people as quickly as we do. And when it comes to topics like reptilian people or reptilians, lizard people, and people who are not like us but who's in the same costume as us, living in this world, living in this society with us, that is a conversation that needs to be explored also. Like, we can't just assume that every human being here is an actual human being here. I'm sorry if that sounds crazy, but it's something that needs to be investigated without you writing an article that is making it out immediately, oh, dismiss her, she's crazy, don't even listen to this crazy lady, you crazy for listening to her. Like, come on. So who knows? I think I need to make a trip to Dallas, take a visit, get to know this lady, and see if she wants to come on the pod. No, but for real, like, I just, you know, it would have been nice had she explained herself further. Just kind of get to the nitty gritty. You know what's so interesting? I notice a lot of the white people, and I don't know if she's white. I mean, her last name is Gomez, but it's not even Gomez. Like, it's not a Gomez. Gomez. It's a Gomas, Gomas. So maybe that's Italian. So let's assume she's Italian. So a lot of these white people here that I've seen here in Texas in my almost 5 years of living here. I think it's about 5 years now. 2018, I moved here. So yeah, 5 years of me living here. The white people here are thick. The white women in particular. Some look good thick and some don't, right? But the point in what I'm saying is a lot of them are big boned. I know that's not a real term and that's not a real thing, Maxine. You're not just born big. Some of them are. I feel like some of them are just like, whoa, look at these curves on this white lady. Look at the hips. Look at the ass. And so looking at this woman right here, Tiffany Gomez, she's a little thicky, okay? And in a good way. Like, her breasts are full. She has thick arms, like muscular, but not like too muscular. she's like fitted in a way where you can see the curves in her jeans. She looks good. She looks like a black woman. Like, she looks like me. Like, her body looks good. So I just see this more and more here in Texas. So I'm actually not surprised that she's a native of Texas. She looks like a white woman Texan, okay? Because growing up in Boston, the white women there are not thick, and if you dare to say their butt is big, they would, at least back in the day. Who knows if it's changed now? Like, if you say a white girl who's living in Boston, if you say her butt is big now, maybe it's seen as some form of praise. Who knows? But I just feel like, yeah, back then it was totally different in Boston. Like, it was an insult if you told a white woman, "Oh my gosh, look at your butt, it's so big," or "Oh, look at you in curves." Like, they would be so insulted. They probably will break down, do a wall cry. That wall cry from the Lifetime movies. They'll just lean against a wall and fall down and just break down. Like, girl, get up. But yeah, so shout out to Tiffany Gomez. She is apologizing. She takes full accountability for my actions, calling her behavior, quote, completely unacceptable. Ciao. God bless. Okay, so what's going on with the Breakfast Club? What is going on with the Breakfast Club? Because they're getting an ass whooping politically, and I don't know if they're doing it for views, because lately they've been accepting Republican or just non-leftist candidates onto the show. And since what's her name? Angela Yee. Since Angela Yee has left the show, there's been this new woman who's been consistently on. Her name is Teselin Child. I don't know. I don't like her. Teselin Figaro. She's this black woman, and I don't know where she lives, but she's never on the show in person. She's always on it through a screen via Zoom. And it's like, girl, we are in 2023. We're not doing this anymore. It's not 2020. What are we doing? She's literally on the screen like this, like, avatar next to in-person Charlemagne and in-person DJ Envy. It's just so weird. Like, are we doing this now? Like, your co-host is via Zoom. What the fuck are we doing? Like, it's just so funny. Anyway, so she's on the show more frequently, and she provides a political perspective. And of course, because it's the Breakfast Club, because it's iHeartRadio, it's gonna be this leftist, democratic, woe is me, I'm black, yet they're all black and they're super successful. They're all black, but their children are doing pretty well because y'all are doing pretty well. So let's stop acting like y'all are this downtrodden demographic anymore. And sure, their upbringing is way different than how their children are being raised, right? Because now they have access to success and resources, and all that is great and dandy. But what I want many black people who have reached that level of success, who have found their way out of the cycle of poverty, what I want them to do is let it go. Let the poverty mindset go. Let this, I'm still black and I still can't get that loan. I still can't. It's like, really? Because you got a nice house though. Really? Because you got approved for that credit card while someone like me or, whomever, I'm just joking, but like, while, someone else would have to get a review. I got to review your information to confirm whether or not you can be approved for this credit card. Like, these things aren't your reality anymore. For Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy and probably even Teselin Figaro, her. I'm sorry, I'm not even looking up for her name again. I don't really care. But the point is, Like, let it go. Like, this whole, no, I gotta, and I think it's this brainwash into how can I be even more loyal to this political party of the Democrats? Right? How can I continue to push forward this image of I'm downtrodden, and that's because you're white and you have your foot on my neck because I'm black and I will never find a way to progress. When it's like, yet Charlamagne, you're a millionaire. DJ MVE, you're a millionaire. Maybe you're fraudulent too, because all these reports lately of him having fraudulent relationships or business deals when it comes to his real estate company is a little suspicious. But nonetheless, these men, including Teslin also, who's a woman, these black people in general, them in particular, are doing well for themselves. So I want you to let go of how you were raised, the upbringing you were raised in, because right now you're doing pretty well. So, and I say let it go because you could speak to, hey, I'm black, right? And yes, I grew up in poverty. I grew up on, because Charlamagne the God will always talk about how he grew up in the dirt road of South Carolina, I think it was, or North Carolina. Don't beat me up if I get the Carolinas wrong. But nonetheless, he grew up on a dirt road in a trailer park, just raggedy, right? And yet he made it out, and he is one of the top radio broadcasters in America. Like, everyone knows Charlamagne the God. He is a notable figure in the industry. So to portray this, I'm still being victimized because I'm black type of rhetoric is just, it's disingenuous. It really is. It's disingenuous. It doesn't make any sense, because why not portray this image of, hey, I got out this cycle of poverty. I made it out, and look at me now. Here are the steps that I did, right? Here are the relationships that I was able to make. Here's a perseverance and grit that I obtained. Here's what I learned. Like, put that in a book, talk about that more. Instead, you're always talking about the victim mindset of being black in America. And look, I'm not trying to discredit many black people. And look, and even myself included, like, I feel like, sure, maybe there are times in which I was, discriminated against because of the skin that I have, right? Because of the skin color that I have, right? But I just don't want to take away from the success that I've obtained throughout the years. Anyway, let's get into this. So Larry Elder, who I actually am not much of a fan of, I'm not too familiar with him, but the things that I have seen about him were just a rhetoric that I've heard that he would say. I don't know if I'm a fan of him per se, but nonetheless, so Larry Elder, he is a GOP Grand Old Party, which is such a silly title. Like, why is that? What? So AKA Republican, and Democrats versus Republican, and you can't be black and Republican. And there was a point during the interview, DJ MVE said, why should black people vote for you? Or he said something like, why should we, why should our community, we as in black people, vote for you? And it was just so rude. Like, what are you saying? Like, black people can't vote Republican? Like, the way that he worded his question made it seem like, just very high and mighty, like very much, because you're a Republican, you have to fight for my Democratic vote. And you're black and Republican. Why should we as black people trust you because you're black and you're Republican? It's like, you're not even listening to what he's saying, because I haven't watched the interview in full, because I've been watching videos of people's commentary of the interview. They will like pause different parts and comment. So I have downloaded a couple of things that were said, so I understand what took place. And Larry Elder made a couple good points, more than a couple from what I've seen in these commentary videos. Like, he pointed out how the Democratic Party has not been fruitful for Black people. These Democratic states do not benefit from voting Democratic. And he points out the actual stats from that. And he came with the facts. And not just he came with the facts, not like he was reading from his phone or he was stuttering or he had notes in front of him. He was speaking from the dome, y'all. Like, he was very educated in what he was saying, you know? So, yet that was not acknowledged. It was like they just, they paused and let him spoke. Some of them did. Teslin, for the lady, she really didn't. She had an attitude, oh, I just can't stand her. But no one really responded. Like, it wasn't a conversation. It wasn't, and that's what I don't like about them having Republican or any non-left candidate on their show, because they try to say, oh, look, we have everyone on the show and we welcome everyone, every political background or political perspective on the show. And it's like, sure, you may welcome them to have a seat in your studio, sure, but you're not welcoming them to have an actual conversation with them. You're welcoming them to have this instant, not even debate, I would say, but this instant positioning of them being this bad guy. Like, they could say no right. They could say no right answer. They could say nothing that will actually have them pause and reflect and ponder and, tell me more. Like, they don't even allow for that type of energy to come in. Instead, we got this Black Republican on. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and position him as a devil. He's a devil. He's a traitor. It's crazy. So, okay, let's get into this part. Sorry, I've been prepping it up. But, okay, so 2024 GOP presidential candidate Larry Elder rebuked the Breakfast Club host Charlamagne Tha God this week for refusing to hold President Biden accountable in 2020 for his claim any African Americans who were considering voting for Donald Trump ain't Black. And y'all remember that, right? When Biden was running for office, for the presidential office, he came on the Breakfast Club and he sheepishly said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. And instead of challenging him in that moment, right? Instead of saying, what do you mean by that? Like, why does my vote dictate my skin color, dictate my race? Like, my ethnic background. Like, why does my vote dictate that, right? Instead, they laughed. They laughed and they somewhat agreed, because I feel like if you're laughing, if you're not calling it out, you are silently acquiescing to what is being said here. And that's not okay. So the same energy that they give to these Black Republicans, these whomever is on the show who doesn't identify as a Democrat, the same energy that they give to them, they don't give that to these leftist candidates. They don't challenge them. They don't call them out on things. They don't ask them thought-provoking questions. Instead, they just laugh it off. Oh, that's so funny. I ain't black. Like, what kind of dumb shit is that? The topic came up during Elder's appearance on the popular morning radio show, where he and the show's host discussed the topics of systemic racism, fatherlessness, and other circumstances affecting the Black community. As the conversation leaned heavily into topics of race, Elder pointed out the hypocrisy of Charlamagne calling out racism, but refusing to reject Biden's controversial statements from 2020. I want to get to the actual quote. Let's see. So just to recapture what Biden said back in the day, it was in 2020 when he appeared on the Breakfast Club. He said, quote, "I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't Black." Charlamagne replied saying, it has nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact that I want something for my community. 3 years later, Elder chastened Charlamagne for lacking outrage over the controversial statement. The exchange began when the host asked the candidate if he ever heard the slang term nigga wake up call. Okay. This is such a silly, why would you say that to someone? Like, this is an elder. Literally, he's an elder. He's literally an elder, and he's an elder. And this term means, like, wake up to the lies someone is telling you, and boom, you have an awakening. You are enlightened now, right? So Charlamagne the God asked him, have you ever heard of that term, nigga wake up call? So Elder, he denied that he has, and the host defined it saying it is an incident where a person of color forgets they are of color. And here we go. And are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. And it's just so ridiculous because you're saying, oh, this person's not, like, how oftentimes like, I'm not black. No, but like a lot of Democrats in particular would say, look, black people aren't a monolith. We're not a monolith. We're, we are different and we come from different backgrounds and all these things. So they will continuously say monolith for a while now. Remember, there was a certain period in our society in which that term monolith was used so much. Like, y'all just learned that word. It was so ridiculous. We're not a monolith. We're not a monolith. It's like, y'all just learned that vocab word. What's going on? Anyway, so a lot of black people will say that, right? We're not a monolith. Yet when you happen to have a black Republican in your environment, right, who's running for office, who's in your proximity, now you're saying, oh, they forgot they're black. Oh, this person needs a nigga wake up call. I thought you said we're not a monolith, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought you said black people have different thoughts and ideas and opinions and backgrounds. So why is it hard to accept a black Republican? Like, that is just a silly and foolish statement. So Elder responded, he says that notion is ridiculous, basically. And then he says, quote, oh, brother. However, he took the opportunity to throw the term back at the host by bringing up the Biden quote. So then he says in response to him, he said, and when Joe Biden insulted you by saying you ain't really black, if you don't know whether you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. Got him! When I tell you, he let him have it in such a pastoral way. Like he spoke in a way that reverends speak. Like he takes his time when gathering you together. It was actually very funny. He says, how dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you gotta think a certain kind of way. I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that. So Charlamagne responds and says, I'm not going to say it upset me, just like I'm not letting you upset me. Like, Charlamagne, shut up. Ever since he's been in therapy, ever since he learned the words anxiety and depression, he's so fucking stupid. I'm not going to let you upset me, Mom. Dad, you can't speak to me like that. Like, no, you're purposely missing the point here. You're purposely not addressing what I'm saying. So instead you say, I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like that. No, what are you saying? You're not addressing my point here. I'm not telling you to get upset right now. I'm not, he wasn't telling him to get upset, right? He was telling him to hold him accountable just as you are trying to hold me accountable in this moment by this silly ass phrase of nigga wake up call. How come you weren't offended, or how come you didn't call out the racism in that statement that Biden said to you in 2020 when he came on the show asking for your vote and saying you ain't black if you have to consider Trump over me. You know, that is a genuine response. I thought that was a very, very well articulated response Larry Elder did. And sure, maybe he's not well liked by black people. Maybe he's seen as a coon, but I feel like a lot of people who happen to be black and happen to be in the Republican Party are seen as coons, and I just don't agree with that. Like, I feel like Tim Scott, I don't think he's a coon at all. I think he presents himself very well, and I think he, at the very least, there hasn't been anything said from him that I've seen so far that I've disagreed with Tim Scott on, that I didn't like his positioning on, or felt like he was being just disconnected too much on. Like, I think he presents himself very well, Tim Scott. Like, you know what, sometimes with Candace Owens, it's like, oh, girl, you just be saying shit. Like, I get the backlash over her. I do. And sometimes she says some things that I feel connected with and I resonate with, but there are definitely times, I can't deny that, there are definitely times with Candace Owens when I'm just like, girl, what? She comes off disingenuous. She definitely comes off disingenuous at times, and I can understand how she is seen as a coon. That I can't entirely defend. But Tim Scott, I like him. I do like him. I think he is pretty great. I don't know if he's running, actually. Is he running for office? Because that I may consider. Oh, he is running for president. Yeah, he is running for president. I wonder if he's going to show up on The Breakfast Club. But I think he articulates himself very well. He is a U.S. Senate. He's 57 years old. He's pretty well kept. I think. Yeah, I think he's great. I remember I saw a clip of him on The View recently, his recent appearance on The View, and he spoke very well against Sunny Hostin, who tried to get at him with some stats that she had in her back pocket, and he had some stats right back for that ass. He had some stats right back for that ass. Okay, let's talk about Wayne Brady, child. Let's talk about Wayne motherfucking Brady. So Wayne Brady, we haven't heard from this man in so long. I've never really cared for him. I remember him from Whose Line Is It Anyway? He is a comedian. Yeah, so he's listed as a comedian, but I mean, I don't really find him funny. But whether I find him funny or not, he still is a comedian, right? Is regardless, not every comedian is for me, right? So that's totally fine. But yeah, he's listed as a comedian. He's an actor. He's a television and show host here in America. And he's a singer. Like, he's a multifaceted, talented individual. And he's pansexual. But and we're done here. I'll check in with you all next time. So he's pansexual. He came out recently as a panty. That's probably not the correct term for it. I just thought of it now. But he came out as a pansexual, and he says, quote, "I'm doing this for me." Now, you may ask, what in the world is a pansexual? What are we talking about now? I've heard of this term many years ago, so I'm not too ignorant to it. I just still think it's just so silly. Anyway, so keep in mind, he's a black man, right? So now a lot of people who are speaking on this, or like some people who I've heard their opinion on this, they see it as a step moving forward for the LGBTQIA plus community, because now you see this black man who is not necessarily flamboyant, and he's dark skinned and he's tall, and he looks like a conventional, traditional, straight black man. And for him to come out as a pansexual, which is, I don't know any other celebrity who has come out as such. It's a trend, not a trend, but it's he's a pioneer now, right? He's setting the trend for people to come out as such, and he's now the forefront guy for a pansexual. So he says here, and he's also known for hosting the show Let's Make a Deal. So he opens up about his long road to self-discovery and how his daughter and ex-wife are showing him acceptance. Quote, I love all people equally, and now that includes myself. And it's like, nigga, what the fuck? You never loved yourself? What's going on? So let's type in, what is a pansexual? So a pansexual is someone who is sexually or romantically attracted to people regardless of their sex or gender. So what does that mean, right? It means he could like a gay man, a straight man, a transgender, a non-binary person, like all of these terms that have been made up, right? These terms that really don't mean anything, that just people just be making up whatever it is. He could like anybody, okay? And it's so regardless of gender, regardless of, he's just saying he likes everybody. It's all things. So I just looked it up here, and there's actual flag for it. The flag for everything, huh? People just be making, you know what I've just been learning more and more of? You put value into things. The thing is not just valuable as it is, right? It's you who put value and meaning into things. So, for example, the American flag, right? There's value put into it. There's meaning put into it because of what it represents. But we give that representation to it. It represents freedom. It represents hope. It represents strength, right? Unity and a fight for justice. That's the American flag. Equality, like that's what it represents, right? But so ever since the whole BLM movement came about, the American flag has been portrayed as a weapon against Black people and other minority groups, and people see it as a threat, as a warning against minorities by white people. Like, people see it as KKK now. A lot of people who are of that BLM movement. Anyway, so my point is, things don't mean anything. Like, nothing means anything. Like this, okay, I have a water bottle. One of my water bottles is a Stanley Cup water bottle. The reason I got it is because I was victimized by the propaganda. No, but dead ass. What I mean by that is consumerism is a big deal. And so on social media, so that includes Instagram and things that I've seen on YouTube, I've seen a lot of influencers talk so greatly about this water bottle, this Stanley water bottle. And I'm like, oh, I like the water bottle too. And it comes in different colors, and the shape of it is pretty cool, and it has a handle. But what's interesting is, before the Stanley Cup water bottle came out, there's been many water bottles with handles and straws and a cover at the top. Like, this is nothing new. Nothing about this water bottle is life changing. And also, the water bottle, it keeps the liquid cold inside, right? And I think it also keeps it warm if you were to put warm things, but I've never done it. I exclusively use it for water bottle. I feel like I say it funny, but I exclusively use it for water. Anyway, the point is, I was just victimized by it. Not victimized, but I'm saying that in jest, but I'm saying that we're all manipulated in some way, right? Whether we see an ad of a product for so long that we just, all right, let me go ahead and buy it and check it out, right? And then we just suddenly we're on the bandwagon of liking this product and feeling like it's the best product ever because of what is portrayed about this product, right? If no one talked about this water bottle, right? If it just sat on the shelves it would have probably passed people by, or people would have passed it by. You know, I probably would not have even thought of a Stanley water bottle. Like I so the point is, we put meaning into things. We give things value. And I've since the last few days, and I've always, not always, but like for a few years, I've known of, or I've learned of the saying. I don't know if it's a saying though, but I've heard people say, and I've like explored it a bit, but I don't think I've ever really like fully digested it yet until recently. But how like money isn't real, and you know, we put value into money, and we have to recognize that, you know, thinking in abundance allows for you to experience abundance. And when you're thinking that you're losing money, and every time you spend money you feel like you're in this survival mode or this scarcity mode, that is hurting you more than it is helping you. Instead, think of money as this circulation. Think of it as you are exchanging value, right? So you're giving money, you're exchanging your money for this product, for this service, because you see this service or this product as valuable and it's worth it. And it's an exchange. So you're always getting something in return that is valuable, that is abundant to you. So don't look at money as, oh, I'm losing money, or I just lost money. No, you spent it, you exchanged it for a service, for a product that you saw as valuable. And I was taken aback by, because I've heard of this like in different ways for a few years now, but just recently I watched a TikTok video that was shown in my Instagram feed of this woman, this Asian woman talking about that, breaking it down, and it was just so well put. She said it so well, so much so that I saved the video. I actually started following her account. I don't know if I'll follow it forever or even longer than a week or so. Who knows? I tend to like purge who I follow, but I really was taken in a good way by her video on the topic, because I feel like, you know, I continue to grow out of the mindset of scarcity, and especially when it comes to money. So in my mind, I like to find ways to understand abundance and think of money as an abundant tool. So yeah, again, so we put value and we put meaning into things, and it's just so funny how there's a flag for pansexuality. That's really where I want to get at too. So anyway, this also says pansexual people might refer to themselves as gender blind, asserting that gender and sex are not determining factors in their romantic or sexual attraction to others. So he likes any and every, any and every. That's what it should say. Any and every. But you know what? Anyway, aside from that, Wayne Brady, I don't really like him. And the reason why I don't really like him is there's been, I remember when Wendy Williams was still alive, and I mean, she's alive. Oh, I'm sorry. I just said that. I didn't mean for her to sound like she's dead, but in a way she is dead. Like, who we knew her to be is no longer. I feel like she's in a shell of herself. So I'm really sorry to see how far she has gone, and she's just not in her right mind. But anyway, when she was in her right mind and she had her show, her talk show, the Wendy Williams show, he was a guest. He was a frequent guest on the show, and he would respond to her questions, some of her questions, with an attitude. Like, he would say things like, no, I could do multiple things. I'm talented. I could sing. I could write. I could, like, he was trying to prove himself in a way that was just very arrogant. Like, you should know this about me. Like, I deserve more things. And like, he comes off very bitter. That's the word, bitter, because he feels like he doesn't get his just due. And maybe he doesn't, right? Maybe he doesn't, and maybe he should get more recognition and praise, sure. But I feel like people who are just rude about it and bitter, like who wear their bitterness on their sleeve, nothing good comes to you. I really do. I just think that is not helping you at all. Like, and I'm sorry to point out for Godfrey the comedian. He's hilarious. I think he's a great impressionist. He's entertaining. All of that is true. And maybe he is right. He doesn't get his just due. And maybe he doesn't get his proper accolades. And maybe he does experience, like, I'm not taking that away from him. But what he tends to do, and what I also noticed that, from Wayne Brady, what they have in common is they have a tendency of just wearing their bitterness on their sleeve. They're always angry and pointing the blame at everyone else. And you know what's interesting? Andrew Schultz used to do this, and he admitted this. And I remember before his ascension, when he was because he still is one of the hosts of, he co-hosts the Brilliant Idiots podcast with Charlamagne Tha God. But I remember in their earlier episodes, he will always come on and always talk just kind of like poorly about where he is positioned in the comedian sphere. He always felt like he wasn't getting what he deserved, and he wasn't getting roles, he wasn't getting access, and he wasn't getting the views, and it was always someone's fault. He was always blaming the algorithm and this guy for not opening the door for him and that guy for not opening the door for him. And it was like, but maybe that's true, right? Maybe he did. And same for Godfrey and same for Wayne Brady. Maybe they didn't get the proper access or enough access and networking opportunities, but fight harder. You know what I mean? Like, figure it out. And instead of complaining about it, figure out another way. Find another angle to overcome this obstacle, because really it's not a black thing. It's not a white, it's never a white thing, but with Andrew Schultz, he's a white man, right? He couldn't play the race card because he's white, yet he experienced doors closing on him and opportunities not appearing and backlash and not, just he did not experience the success as he wanted it to come in the time that he wanted it to come. He fought for it. And what he did so brilliantly was he planned it out. He was strategic. He figured out ways to appease the algorithm in social media, on YouTube. And I think his ascension really took place when he started his joke of the day on Instagram. Like, when he was really active on Instagram. He's active on Instagram now, but like now I feel like he uses his Instagram for promotion of his upcoming dates, right? But when it comes to him like front facing the camera on Instagram, he used to do that a lot. Okay, that's scary. I did not mean to play that. But when it came to him, when it came to him figuring it out, he figured it out. He was using his social media strategically, and he was like, okay, look, I'm going to post 3 Instagram feed posts a day. And that's going to shoot up my numbers. That's going to shoot up my reach. And so it started with that, in my opinion. And then what really helped accelerate his growth was during the pandemic, when he did his what was it, like his 10 minutes, or was it 5 minutes? I forget, but he had this whole it was very engaging. His engaging talk show, one-man talk show of the different events that took place during that week. And he did it so effectively. I think he had this like Jon Stewart-esque about it. The way that he told his jokes, it's like he told his jokes in one breath, and it was just very clever and quick. it was witty, and you see the pictures of whatever topic he's talking about appear in the background. It was just so well done. It was so well done, and the timing was great. The timing was great because he could have used the pandemic as a way to complain and worry and be fearful, right? But instead, he decided to work, and he decided to be strategic, and he decided, you know what? Everyone's going to be on their phones even more now. Everyone's going to be online even more now. Why not push out this content for people to consume? And boom, he gained more attention. He gained more audience members and fans because of that. And that took strategy. So the point is, despite the obstacles that you face for whatever reason, whether it just be because people don't like you, or because, sure, maybe because you are black and you're getting blackballed, literally in that sense, but figure it out. No one's going to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to find resources and talk to people and build relationships with people that could help you get to where you are. But ultimately, it takes for you to believe that you can, without you saying, oh, I'm being blackballed and it's the white man's fault and I will never, and it's because I'm black. Like, all of these things how is that beneficial? How are you going to go far with that mindset? And Godfrey the comedian, he does that. I have to say Godfrey the comedian because I know a Godfrey in real life. So I want to make it clear in case this episode ever comes forth and he gets it confused. I'm talking about him. I'm not. Godfrey the comedian, he just comes off very bitter. And again, I like his rhetoric. I like his podcast. Like, I think he's very entertaining. He's very talented. I just think he needs to stop being so bitter, stop being so damn angry. It's a white man and fuck y'all. And it's like, and then he even kind of spoke to it too. Cause like, I think he said how some people don't want to work with him, you know, because he comes off very militant. And it's like, then kind of soften it out, nigga. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not saying you can't call out racism anymore. I'm not saying you can't shed light on the different ways in which many black people have been discriminated. I get that. I think there's a voice for that. I think that's needed and short. All that is cool and all, but it's like, he'll just snap. And it's like, are you okay? It's just so weird. It's just so funny. Anyway, shout out to him though. Maybe I could be a guest on his podcast. I do like him though. I think he's entertaining. Not like that. I don't like him like that. Yeah, I'm just saying. I think he's entertaining. He's a good comedian. And I saw him live when he came to Houston Improv a few years ago. But yeah, I just think like bitter people. It's just, that bitterness will wear you down. So I'm just offering constructive criticism here. I think this is a piece of criticism that anyone could take, regardless if you're in the entertainment industry or not. If you wear your bitterness on your sleeve, you will not go far. If you believe that you are going to be rescued, and I mean, sure, maybe there are some people who've gotten rescued, and right, you see all these like these housewives who married a man and just they finally were able to quit their waitressing job, and boom, they could be a housewife, and they got rescued and saved from that. Sure, I think that's cool, great. But oftentimes they're in these abusive marriages and they feel trapped, or they don't have a way of finding themselves because they have to be in this conventional box with their husband because he is now their daddy. Anyway, let's end it here. If you enjoy any point in this podcast, in this episode, please make sure you are subscribed. You tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will check in with you all next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. If you liked it, leave a review, share, and subscribe. God bless.